dare you stand there and smirk at me? Your property is in direct violation.
Yeah. My property is just fine, ma'am. Perhaps you should read the updated codes.
Blue lights bounced off my windows while cold air rushed through the screen door. I smelled wet asphalt and burnt coffee from the thermos I dropped on the porch step. At 6:12 a.m. on May 3rd, 2024, I woke to a plastic rustle and a chorus of clipped voices. A cluster of board members stood in my yard under clipboards and ponchos like a flock of shiny crows. They zip-tied fluorescent warning tags to my mailbox, my railing, even my rosemary bush. 15 tags. My dog whined. My neighbor, Mr. Lee, peeked over his fence and vanished like he'd seen a ghost. The head of the pack, a woman who lived to scowl, tapped a stack and said loud enough for the street to hear, non-compliant. Fined. I stared at the tags while rain mist chilled my face. My mailbox was regulation size. My house color came from their own list. The tag said grass 0.5 inches too long, flag angle wrong, and patio chair color not approved. HOA stormed my porch with 15 warning tags. Too bad I am the Inspector General, I muttered, and that was the fight. It wasn't just the paper. It was the way they tried to shame me at sunrise. I asked to talk. I said we could check the handbook together. Heads turned away. A board member rubbed his neck and wouldn't meet my eyes. The scowler said, appeal at the meeting. Then they left wet footprints and a deadline. I tried the meeting first. May 5, 2024, community room, 9:00 p.m. I brought cookies and a smile. I asked to speak. The board stared at their phones. Karen, the scowling one, banged a gavel like she was on TV. She read a script about community standards. I pointed out the rules by page and line. The room shifted. Neighbors looked down. One whispered, sorry. When I asked who filed the complaints, the secretary coughed and said, anonymous. Karen announced the fines would start at $250 per day. I said that sounded extreme. She smirked and adjourned. Outside, Mr. Lee whispered that she patrolled at dawn with a tape measure. Then he hurried off like he'd told a state secret. That night, I drew a line. No yelling, no stunts, only the proper channels. I made coffee and opened my laptop. I typed dates as if they were beats on a drum. Timeline item 1, April 5 at 4:27 a.m. False trespass call. Timeline item 2, April 20th at 6:03 a.m. Tag, placed on legal garden box. Timeline item 3, May 3 at 6:12 a.m. 15 tags, public display. I lined up photos, emails, and call logs in a binder. I pulled the HOA bylaws and the city code from the website. I highlighted the part that said, Decor Colors Approved 2022 remain valid for 5 years. Then I logged into my work portal and filled out a conflict of interest disclosure. That last step matters when your day job title reads Inspector General, Municipal Compliance. Patterns of false reports can be prosecuted. I didn't show up with sirens. I followed the map. First, I requested the HOA's violation logs under the Sunshine Law they had agreed to in their charter. 2 days later, the file landed with 63 pages. The entries read like a diary written in anger. 92 complaints in 6 weeks. 81 from the same email address. Times matched the dawn patrol. Photos were taken from inside yards, not the sidewalk. That's a problem. I prepared a simple statement of facts, not threats. I asked the city zoning officer to inspect my yard and the mailbox. He came on May 10th at 2:15 p.m., measured the lawn, checked the flag, and laughed. This flag angle is fine, he said. He wrote a note on official letterhead. I made copies. The payoff came at their big spring meeting. I showed up early and took a front seat. Neighbors filled the chairs, standing room only, phones ready. Karen wore a pearl sweater and a pin shaped like a gavel. She began with fines due today. I raised my hand and said I had a response. She said public comments are limited. I nodded and handed the secretary a sealed packet labeled evidence. I asked them to read aloud the Sunshine Log. The secretary read the first page, then the second, then stopped. I asked him to continue. He swallowed and read the email address tied to the 92 complaints. The room turned. It was Karen's. I slid the city inspector's letter across the table and the binder of photographs time-stamped by the morning fog. Then I played a short clip from my porch cam of her stepping on my flower bed to zip tie a tag. No narration, just the crunch of mulch and her voice saying, "Make it stick." Phones came up like a wave. The room buzzed. Some laughed. Someone whispered, "She tagged his rosemary." Comments popped in the neighborhood group within minutes. The video hit a few local forums by sunset. I didn't share it first, but people did. My favorite reply said, "Who finds a flag for leaning 6 degrees?" Another said, "Timeline is chef's kiss." Someone else turned my binder into a meme. "Sir brings receipts." I stayed quiet. I kept sipping water and watching. Karen tried to gavel the noise away. She said, "This is harassment." The treasurer stared at the tables like they were made of glass. A board member pulled at his collar and took a step away from her chair, then the flip. The city zoning officer entered with 2 more staffers. He asked if the board would accept his report. He read the findings. No violations present at the address in question. Grass within standard. Flag within standard. He asked who had placed tags on private property without consent. He read the Sunshine Log email again. He looked at me, then at the crowd, then at Karen. He said this simply: issuing false notices and trespassing can carry consequences under municipal code. Patterns of false reports can be prosecuted. Our council liaison, who had slipped in during the buzz, announced a review of the HOA's charter and fining policy. The board voted, right there, to suspend all fines pending review. Karen refused to vote and walked out. The door thunked like a stamp. After that, peace felt almost loud. No more dawn patrol. No more plastic rustle. The HOA sent letters canceling the fines and apologized in a bland way. They named an interim chair, a quiet guy who waved at kids. Karen got removed from the compliance committee and faced a warning from the city attorney. She will spend a few meetings answering questions instead of asking them. My neighbors started talking again. Mr. Lee brought over dumplings and said he slept better now. I fixed the tiny crack in my mailbox anyway, just because it bugged me, and planted marigolds along the edge. On June 1st at 7:30 p.m., we had a block potluck. We laughed about the rosemary tag and passed paper plates. A kid asked what I do. I said I make sure rules are fair, and we follow them. Then I posted one last update with the clean porch photo and the caption case closed. Please follow for more HOA showdowns like this. Do you think she got what she deserves? Comment below.